No one had overheard her mother's callous remark. After the long years of the war, and with austerity and rations still choking them, turning down the lights made it easier to believe that things hadn't changed, that titles still meant money and status and position. Full power made glaringly obvious the faded carpets, the worn furniture cushions, and the chipped paint on the chair rails and moulding. Curse Hitler and the damn death duties! Her mother tilted the remains of the champagne into her mouth, wrinkling her nose at the questionable vintage before exchanging it with a full one from the tray of a passing footman. She didn't offer to take one for Vera, allowing the footman and his tray to fade off into the crowd. "I just heard the most surprising news from your Aunt Augusta. Lady Somerville's daughter, Matilda, is engaged, which I find incredibly difficult to believe. She's the kind of aristocratic daughter that makes one think the laws of consanguinity should have been better enforced." "Mother, really?" Vera sighed, in no mood for her vitriol. "Don't be silly. You know it's true." Yes, it was, but it seemed so petty to say it aloud. Vera touched her bare ring finger again. "Who's the fiancé?" "Some officer in the Navy. At least Princess Elizabeth has made that choice of husband fashionable." Her mother waved the half-full flute, making the champagne slosh perilously close to the edge before settling safely back in the bottom. "The wedding will be in December." The same month Vera would have been wed if the war had ended sooner, or the Germans' aim had been higher. Vera glanced around for the footman and his silver salver of champagne, wondering where he'd gone. She needed a drink, perhaps the whole trayful. Dignity and poise be damned. "I'll be sure to send a gift with my regrets." "It'd be better if you attended. Her fiancé must have a great many friends, and you can't afford to be picky. After all, nobody likes a bitter old spinster." "One would think I didn't have a reason to be bitter." Her mother's compassion and understanding never ceased to amaze her. It was why she kept her dreams of writing in New York to herself. She didn't want them minced to pieces by her mother's sharp tongue. "One would think you'd realize it's better for you to be pleasant and at least try to land a gentleman, rather than standing here like some forlorn wraith. After all, you can't expect me and your father to keep you forever. Our resources aren't endless." Vera curled her hands into fists at her sides, detesting having their usual breakfast conversation move to the evening. What she wouldn't give to escape from it all. "I have my writing." "Oh, well, there's a comfort." Her mother finished her champagne in one gulp. "Scribbling little articles on British manners for crass Americans. How lucrative." She shoved the empty flute at Vera before threading her way into the crowd. Vera gripped the flute tight, wanting to slam it to the floor and scatter the pieces across the polished wood planks. But she wasn't one to make a spectacle of herself. Instead, she turned and marched to the open French door leading to the portico off the back of the house. Passing by the portrait of some distant Lowell relation, she left the warmth of the ballroom for the cutting chill of the autumn night. Vera's breath curled into a cloud above her head as she sighed in relief to find herself alone. It was too cold out here for the others, in their thin chiffon and silk gowns, saved and mended from before the war, but Vera welcomed the biting air. She laid her hand on the thick railing at the far end, the stone damp beneath her fingertips, the bottom of the flute clinking against it. Weatherly Hall stood in the countryside just outside London, a stately Georgian home that had once been a royal hunting retreat. The lights of London were just visible on the horizon, and Vera shivered. The last time she'd stood here at night had been in January 1944, when she'd watched the searchlights cutting through the dark sky and the distant flashes of the German bombs pummeling the city in one last attempt to bring Britain to its knees before the Germans lost. David, little more than 16, had stood beside her, along with Lord and Lady Lowell. During the deadly bombardment, the four of them had prayed for the survival of London and England and Henry. God had answered 2 of their 3 prayers. Below her, the manor's green lawn spread out, the flatness of it sloping to a copse weakly illuminated by a half.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.